Hey guys, welcome back to another install video. Today we are going to be installing a DIY fin plate onto a Van Hunks inflatable. You can use this DIY fin plate on any inflatable that has a flat surface on the bottom. So if it doesn't come with a standard fin box on your inflatable, you can easily install this very easily, and we're going to show you how to do it today. So we're going to go over everything that you need. So first you're going to need some sort of liquid to clean the surface. Here we have some isopropyl alcohol that we will clean the surface with, and it'll evaporate and not leave any moisture. We have some Stay Bond adhesive, as well as the accelerant that comes with the adhesive. We have a paintbrush for when we're applying the adhesive onto the inflatable. We have a mixing container for the glue, because it's going to be a 10-to-1 ratio of adhesive to the accelerant, so we're going to need to do a little bit of mixing. Some gloves to keep your hands safe from irritation, and our measuring tools, 2 syringes for mixing of the glue, 150 grit sandpaper. This is optional, but we'll go over that. And then whatever you're going to be mounting on your inflatable, whether it be a standard fin or one of our motors. So first off, I want to talk about the orientation of how you want to place this on your inflatable. So you see one side has an open end that the slide and lock fin adapter will lock into, and on most fins you're going to put the open part towards the front of the vessel, and when it slides in, the fin will be oriented where the edge of the fin is going towards the back. This is different when we do the motor, because the motor, the way the slide and lock fin adapter works, you're going to put it in on the same side, but where the edge of the fin would be facing the back of the vessel, the motor is actually facing the back. So when we want to install this, you're going to want to flip it so the open side is on the rear and the closed side is facing the front of the vessel, so your motor is going the correct direction. So depending on whether you're installing a fin or one of our motors, you're going to want to orient it correctly. So let's get started. All right, so now let's talk about how we're going to get this mounted on here. So since we are going to be putting a motor on this specific mount, we're going to have the closed side facing the front of the vessel, and the open side that allows the slide and lock fin adapter to go in, this is going to be facing the rear. So in the interest of saving a little bit of time for this video, I've already cleaned and prepped my surface, as well as taking 150 grit sandpaper and sanding down all of the plastic on the back side of this fin adapter, as well as sanding down the inflatable itself where I'm going to be mounting this. So once you have that sanded and cleaned, you can now measure and figure out where you want to put this on your inflatable. We have also, in the interest of saving a little bit of time, have already measured out where we are going to have by making certain lines with a pencil on the bottom of the inflatable. So when we're ready to mount it, it'll go right exactly where we want it. So the first step to doing all this after you've prepped your surfaces and cleaned everything is going to be mixing the glue. So with this Stay Bond, it's going to be this specific glue. It's going to be a 10-to-1 ratio. So we're going to have to do a couple pulls here, because this is only a 3 mil syringe. A full 3 mils. Put it in there. Six mil. There's 15 milliliters of this, and then it's a 10-to-1 ratio, so we're going to use 1.5 mil of the accelerator. You can get these syringes at any pharmacy. And we're using two different sizes, one that is a little bit larger, and then one that's pretty precise, because it's hard to get a big syringe into the little accelerator tube. So there's 1.5 mils of the accelerator. So we're gonna set these back aside here. Make sure you're wearing gloves if you don't want to get your skin irritated on this. So then we're just gonna stir it all up. So now we're gonna take our DIY fin plate and we're gonna do a light coat across the entirety of all the surfaces. And we are gonna let this fully dry. So once you apply the adhesive to the DIY fin plate, it's gonna take about 15 to 20 minutes for it to fully dry. You could always do the little knuckle test with a glove on to see if it's been dry. We're just gonna I'm happy with that. So we're gonna come over here with some more glue and we're gonna do another light coat on the entirety of the area and a little bit outside the marked edges that we have here. So we're gonna get this with another light coat and we're also gonna let this cure. Pretty happy with that as well, and we're also going to let this dry for about 15 to 25 minutes until it's fully dry, depending on where you're at in heat and all that. It'll take different times to dry, so tune back in when that is all dry. All right, so we're back. We have our fully dry DIY fin plate here, and the inflatable is dry on that patch as well. So here we've mixed our second batch of glue using that 10:1 ratio, and we're gonna do a second coat. With this coat, it can be another light coat, but we're not gonna let this coat fully dry. So do the same thing that we just did earlier, and we are going to apply another light coat all the way around on all the parts, the black and the blue. So this looks pretty good. I got another light coat here, and I went all the way around a little outside the edges a little bit as well. And with this one, remember, we're not going to let this fully dry. So we're going to wait about 5 minutes, and then we're going to come back and we're going to actually put the fin plate onto the inflatable. So check back in a few minutes. All right, so now we've given this about 5 minutes to partially dry, and now we're actually going to put this onto our inflatable. So this part is really crucial because once you put it on there, it's going to start bonding almost immediately. So you want to make sure your placement is correct. So I have, oh yeah, I barely touched it and it was already starting to stick pretty hard. So I'm just making sure that all is correct and that looks correct on that side. All right, I'm happy with this placement. So now I'm going to kind of go around and work out any air bubbles that are going to be in between the fin plate and the inflatable. So here I'm just going around and just working out any air bubbles. And that looks pretty good. All right, so now that we've worked out all the air bubbles, you're gonna wanna let this cure for about 24 to 48 hours before putting a fin or a motor or taking it out on the water. And that pretty much wraps it up. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you guys in the next one.